So partnerships are like marriages. So number one, you need to understand each other. And I would highly recommend taking personality profile tests so that you understand how people are wired. And what those things do is they help you not only understand yourself better, but they help you understand who's with you and who's around you, which ultimately, and I do this in all my businesses, also teaches you how to approach people. Approach is 100% of the game. So that's number one. Do those personality profilings. There's DISC, there's Myers-Briggs, there's all kinds of stuff out there. Really get to know each other and understand each other at an intimate level and how they operate. Make sure you fully understand their background and where they're coming from and what their contributions are. The biggest thing with partnerships is you need clearly defined roles. Who's going to do what and how are they going to be held accountable? You got to have one main leader, one main decision maker. You can't have a bunch of partners and, a whole bunch of chiefs. Somebody's got to be the lead. So, you really need to identify those things, clearly define those things. And once you've defined all that in terms of, the roles, the responsibilities, the leadership, all that, then get it in writing. Go to an attorney and say, here's what we've decided on partnership shares. Here's what we've decided on roles, and get it put in writing. Again, clearly defined, expectations in no uncertain terms, exactly what's expected, when and how, so that everybody can hold each other accountable to those goals. And then have that agreement. Look, we're going to have regular meetings and accountability sessions where everybody's performance standards are going to be put before the group. And if somebody's not pulling their weight, then you've got an exit plan in that agreement that they're just, this is how they exit. So you need to have that conversation up front, is that these are the standards by which we're going to measure performance. And if somebody in the group is not measuring up and not meeting those standards, this is how they're going to exit. And it's not if, it's like, this is how. So you're out. You don't do your part, you're out. So that's number one. Number two, number of partners, the fewer the better. The more partners you have, the more problems you're going to have, because again, it's like a marriage. Okay. I'm not one to partner. I like to do my own deals, and be in control. Now, I have done partnerships in businesses, but I've always had the majority control in the final decision. So the mistakes I've made in the past, you've asked me, Chris, is when I have done a partnership and I let somebody else have more control. So I never, I did that twice, and I'll never do it again. I always maintain control of that. Yeah. The other thing about a partnership is whoever has the biggest pockets, when stuff goes down, that's who they're going after. So understand, if you're the biggest pockets, if you're have the biggest balance sheet, you're the one they're coming after. So, if something happens and something goes down, so you got to understand whose financial resources are at risk and available, because that's just kind of how that works. Yeah, so it depends on what it is they're talking about. So I'm going to assume either single family residential or, smaller multifamily. Since they're new, I'd stay away from commercial and multifamily, or commercial, retail, all that right now if you're new. The only commercial I would say would be maybe, obviously multifamily, mobile home parks, and self-storage. Everything else, just stay away from. The key is know your market. You can't skip this task. You got to educate yourself. You got to become an expert. You need to know the market at an intimate level. When I say know the market, I mean down to the city, block, street, and buildings on that street. So it's not enough just to know the area. You need to know it down to the intimate level of the buildings on that street, because if you're looking at residential, single family residential, the house might look good and everything, but if you don't look at what's around it, you could have a big problem, right? So you need to know what's around it, who's around it, what's going on, what's the future of that area, those types of things. So very intimate level on the market knowledge. You need to be an expert on the type of property and the class of property you're going to invest in. Those two things are different. A lot of times people use class and type interchangeably. So like multifamily class, office class, retail. The class is real estate. Real estate is an asset class, like cash, like equities, like gold. It's an asset. It's an alternative asset. Within that class, there is types: single family, multifamily, commercial, land, industrial, hospitality. Those are the types. And within those types, there are classes, A, B, C, and D. So you need to understand within the types of real estate that you're looking to invest in, what are the different classes? What do they mean? And what are the metrics around those? So like I talked about earlier, what are the vacancies? What are the occupancies? What are the rents? What are the values? How are they appraised? What's the inventory look like? What's the demand look like? Are there value add plays? Is there extra property? Is there extra revenue centers? Is there other ways to maximize it? So, you got to be an expert. You got to know your stuff. Now, the third thing is the financing. You really need to understand the financing, the debt, the capital markets, and how to raise capital and understand what investors want, what they're looking for, and how to have that conversation. So financing is 100% of the game. Without the financing, there's no deal. So that's equity capital and it's debt. So you need to understand that and be an expert at that. So you got to really fully understand the business and understand the markets and understand how to finance these deals, even creative financing, and just learn all those things and then go do it and just start where you can. So if it's one house with an owner finance deal because you don't have any money, start there and then go do another one and then do another one and then build it up. So back to the question of the 4 houses. So go from 4 houses and then maybe sell those or refinance them and do a 10 unit and then go do a 20 unit and then go do a 50 unit. So what seems big now, once you start where you are at with what you can always grow from there, because what seems hard now is never hard once you've done it. You know, once you've been there and you've done it, so, that was easy. So go do it again and then grow and scale it from there. So that's how I would advise any beginner starting out, is to grow your knowledge first, grow yourself and your mindset first and foremost in your knowledge, grow your network of people that can help you accomplish your goal while you're on, providing opportunity and service to them, and then get out there and take action and just do it. Just go do it. Go do a deal. Don't wait. Just go do a deal. Right now is a great time for the right property in the right market if you followed everything I've told you and identify opportunities that way.